An installation tutorial for the Skillard rear diffuser for the S30 chassis. Fits the 240, 260, and 280Z. These are available from Skillard.com. Let's start by looking at a few tools that you're going to need. You're going to need a drill, 1/4-inch drill bit. You're also going to need a 4mm Allen, 10mm end wrench. I like to use a spring-loaded center punch. Probably don't need to use one, and a pin to do some marking. Okay, so when you open your diffuser package, you're going to have components that look similar to what we have here. We have the main diffuser plate with the 4 strakes on it. You have your spanner plates, and then you have your wing plates. We also have a couple of slotted angle brackets. You're going to have your 1-inch OD fender washers, 1.25-inch OD fender washers. You're going to have M8 bolts, M8 lock nuts, a bunch of M6 button head bolts. You're going to have a bunch of M6 lock nuts, washers for those M6 bolts, as well as 2 different turnbuckles. So this turnbuckle we're going to use on the 77-78 because it has a shallower floor pan where the spare tire is, so we're going to need something a little longer than on the earlier Z's. You can use the shorter one. And like I said, again, depending on how you mount it, you will find that you will have some extra hardware. So now that we've seen what comes in the box, let's get started on how do we put this thing together. So the first step of the installation is to get your side wings. There's a passenger and a driver. We're on the passenger side, and this is the passenger side piece. When you look down at the 45 flare should be toward the outside of your car. If you look at the top, you'll see that there's 2 slotted holes, and this is how we're going to mount this right here along the lip of your rear quarter panel. And so that's what we got the pin for. Is essentially what we're going to do is we're going to align this the way we want it. It's slotted, so once you get it in, you can slide it backwards and forward a little bit if you need to. And depending on exhaust clearance when you get to the driver's side, you can actually cheat this out a little bit more if you need to give yourself a little bit more room. And also the beauty with the slots is that it doesn't have to be perfect measurement, because once you get it aligned along that lip, then you're going to take your pin where you want it and you're going to put a mark just on the underside of this lip. And the reason we're mounting it there is because if for some reason in the future you wanted to take this off, you don't have holes drilled in the side that you're going to have to weld up and fix. So once you have them marked, that's where I'll come along with the spring-loaded center punch. Mark the holes with this right over the black Sharpie or whatever type of marking device you're using. And then that's where the 1/4-inch drill bit comes in. We're going to drill some holes right up through there. You're going to drill one in the front, one in the back, and the center where those slots are. And so I'm going to do that, and then when we're done, we're going to start to install the side wings. So here we have the wing on the passenger side. We got the hardware in there. It's just finger tight, and so you can see it still moves very easily. So just for the hardware, you're going to use the M6 button heads, and what you're doing is when you hold the plate up underneath that lip, you're going to put that button head in from the bottom side. You're going to slip it through the lip on the car. Then you're going to use the flat washer, put that over the top, and then finger tight the M6 lock nut on top like so, but obviously it's sandwiched in the car right there. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, but just to give you a little frame of reference, like if you look here, those slots on it allows it to move in and out, so you can see it changes how much gap you have between this up curve right here and the rear roll pan. So I'm going to go ahead and get the wing on the driver's side, and then we'll go to the next step. Next step is going to be to attach the side the plate extenders to the main piece. This one we already have on. It's loose, so it can still slide. These are slotted. As you can see, we have slotted holes here. There is a 90-degree bend on the other side, and the way we have this set up is actually for that bend to go down. So it would go mount like this, same as on the other side. However, if you find that you need a little extra room to clear that exhaust, you can flip it over and it will drop it down about a ½ inch. So when you're putting this on, you can see that there are 2 holes on this side that we're going to line them up with, like so. And then you're going to take some more of those M6 button heads. They're going to come up from the bottom, and then you're going to put one of the M6 flat washers over it, lock nut over the top. And again, we're just going to finger tighten those so that way we can use the slots to adjust them once we get it mounted on the car. Also, we're going to take another one of these M6 button head screws, and we're going to use it to attach our slotted bracket. So the slotted part we're putting down, and if I turn this to the right angle, I think you can see it, is the hole back on the rear side of this lip, and we're going to put the T part, attach that to it. And so the reason we're doing that is because with the slots that are there, we're able to adjust it up, down, left, right. And so from the outside of the splitter, we're going to use one of the 1-inch fender washers. We're going to put the bracket on the inside, put the 1-inch fender washer on the inside of the bracket, and then use another one of the M6 lock nuts. So let's see if we can get a quick look right here. Put the fender washer, come in from the back side, put the bracket on next. We're going to put the washer, and then we're going to put the M6 lock nut on top from there. And on this, it's not a bad idea to get it centered and get it snugged up, and that way if you don't need to make any adjustments, you're good to go. If for some reason you need to move that bracket around, then loosening it once it's on the car and tightening it isn't too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, get this other side plate finger tight in place, and then we'll move to the next step. So as we get ready to lift the diffuser up underneath the car, we're going to attach an angle bracket for the other end of our turnbuckle to attach to. And this is a 77-78, and it has the shallower spare tire pan. But you can see right here, we're going to utilize that hole for our bracket. And so we have that other slotted T bracket, looks like this. And so basically we're going to attach that there. We're going to use another 1-inch fender washer and then use that M6 button head to attach it in this location. We've also included a second fender washer and a locking nut in case you are not able to mount it in the location that we're going to use. If you need to put it somewhere else, that's totally fine. You may just need to drill that 1/4-inch hole. You'll be able to utilize the bracket and the hardware included. So if you're going to utilize this existing piece of hardware like we're going to do here, then you're not going to need that extra fender washer or that nut. So we're going to go ahead and get that installed right now. Okay, so we've positioned our diffuser underneath the back of the car. You can see that since I'm doing this by myself, I have the turnbuckle snugged and it's sticking up, so that way it's not going to hit the fuel tank or get hung up on the exhaust, but I can still maneuver it as needed. So as you can see here from the wing plates, there's a hole here and there's a hole right there, and those are going to attach to those 2 holes that were in the extender plate right here and right here. So I'm going to lift the diffuser up from the underside. I'm going to line it to these holes. I'm going to take again those M6 button heads. I'm going to slide one in from the outside through this plate through this plate. And then on the back side of this, I'm going to put one of the M6 washers as well as the M6 lock nut. So I'm going to do that to both of these and then do the same thing on the other side. When you're lifting it up, underneath it, you have this this lip that sticks out beyond the strakes that are right here. And that lip should go inside the rear roll pan on your car. Okay, so now we have the rear diffuser set in place. It's hanging down low in the middle, which is fine. You're going to want to make sure that when you're adjusting and sliding it up and down, we're going to be able to be careful if you have a powder coated version, because you're not going to want to scratch it. But these right here are going to be the next ones. There's no adjustability in these, so we're going to want to make sure we get those tightened up first. And then what I'm going to do is the ones that are slotted underneath here, those are the ones that I'm going to tighten up next. And so I'm going to make sure that the diffuser is sitting at the right height. You should actually be able to slide it up, and the rear lip of the roll pan will almost come into contact with the top of the strakes right here. But there is adjustability in and out. So what that'll do is that'll adjust the angle of this outside strake right here. And so I'm going to get those set perpendicular, or if you want them at a little bit different angle, you need them tapered out a little bit for exhaust clearance, you can do that. Then tighten up here. Then this very outer strake or wing, you're going to find that that is actually going to need to be adjusted next. So the whole thing will actually slide in or out to make sure that you have the right gapping on the rear roll pan right here. So I'm going to go ahead, tighten these, get my gapping adjusted, and tighten the ones underneath. And then I'm going to slide it forward and back, tighten the bolts that are connected here under the rear roll or the rear quarter panel. And then from there, we're going to go to the next step, which will be attaching the turnbuckle. Okay, now that we have the diffuser all tightened up, we're underneath again with the turnbuckle, and we'll turn it and adjust the length to get it to line up with our hole in our bracket that's up here. Again, if you find that it's not lining up quite the way you want, you have the slotted adjustment in this bracket and the one down below. So you can see here we have it mounted up here on the floor, and like I said earlier, if you're using an early model Z, you know, depending on where you mount it, you might need that shorter turnbuckle. You might find that even on the earlier models, you'll use the longer one. So once I have that lined up, I'm going to go back to getting one of those 1¼ inch fender washers with the M8 bolt. We're going to put that through the bracket here. We're going to put the other 1¼ inch fender washer nut on the other side. We're going to get that tightened up. I'm going to adjust the tension on this back turnbuckle, and once I get it where I want, I'm going to tighten up both the M8 bolts that hold the turnbuckle, and then run the jam nut right here down and get that locked into place. Once that's done, we'll come back around from the back, and I'll show you one more option that you can do. One of the things that I want to show you is how sturdy this is. We're going to show you in a minute another option that you can use to put a couple more mounting points in, but I'm going to show you, I'm grabbing right up inside on the outside of the main diffuser piece, and it, you know, bouncing on it, I'm moving the whole car without having deflection in this rear diffuser piece. We have also included hardware, so on the right inside here, get a little better look, on the edge of the roll pan, if you want to, you can take that 1/4 inch drill bit once again right on this bottom edge, drill through the roll pan, drill through right on the back side on that lip on the rear diffuser, and then from there you can insert the M6 or the M6 button head bolts that are supplied with a lock washer on the back if you want to have a little bit extra security on there. Again, this rear diffuser is available from Skillard.com.